Welcome to the courtroom, boys. It's been a while. It's probably been a couple months now. We missed it. I know the fans missed it. It's where we got our most views. Let's be real, because people love the Heat. And maybe not the Miami Heat. I mean, as we can tell with Kevin over here, but they love the hate on these teams and the love that we give for some other teams that we don't know why we love them so much. But with that, our topic is with the playoff race, upon us right now, in my opinion, I mean everyone's opinion, it seems like these one seed teams are pretty dominant overall. We saw them throughout the regular season, um, and it seems like they're going to be very predictable as being the finals matchup. Um, Kevin, you'll take the affirmative, saying that we're going to get one seeds basically in the finals, and Matt, you're going to be fighting, showing that these younger and lower seeded teams have a chance at it. So, Kevin, we'll start with you.
Listen, you got the Bucks first off, which are led by the unstoppable Giannis against. Okay, right now is going to be the toughest series for them to get through to go to the finals against the Miami Heat. I will give them respect. They are good, a good matchup against the Bucks, but I think Giannis is going to turn on a switch. He's going to find that Jordan within himself, turn that switch on, and start putting up 30, 10, 10 games easy and push past that Miami Heat team. Once he's past the Miami Heat team, what's him to stop and get to the finals? Boston? Okay. Toronto? Okay. Against Giannis? You think Marcus Smart's going to stop Giannis from diving to the rim? No. You think anyone on Toronto is going to stop Giannis from diving to the rim? No. The biggest thing that's going to stop him right now is the Miami Heat team and their defense. On the other side, we got the Lakers. Get the fuck out. We just talked about they can beat either Rockets or OKC easy. All right, Western Conference Finals, presumably Clippers. Okay, well, we've seen the series in the season thus far. It's 2-2 against Lakers Clippers. But that excludes playoff LeBron. We all know playoff LeBron is on another level of existence. He's on another plane of being. He has, we were talking about this earlier before the show, he has more points in the playoffs alone than the Memphis Grizzlies do as an organization. The playoff LeBron is not going to be phased by Kawhi and Paul George, okay, who's already choke city in the playoffs, has had one good game, absolutely embarrassing. Uh, I don't think there's anyone that's going to stand in the way of LeBron and the rest of that Lakers. And AD, I think, is going to finally find his stride in the playoffs with an actual good team to go along with. All right, that's it. That's it.
Alrighty, Postmaster, take it over.
So I don't know if you guys are live with the game right now, but the Heat is currently beating the Milwaukee Bucks 72-64. Third quarter, anything can happen, but hey, you know what? Whatever. First off, I think we have seen the chink in the Bucks armor, and that is that while Giannis is in my opinion, the best player in the NBA right now, it is Giannis. Giannis is going to be the deciding factor between whether they win or whether they lose. Now, there's a difference. Obviously, the Lakers are going to plow through OKC and or the Rockets. There's no way that that's not going to happen. While we are hyping up, and I'll get back to the Bucks in a minute. While we are hyping up playoff LeBron, I think we're missing the point of playoff Kawhi, and the fact that Kawhi Leonard is literally one of the best players to have played this game. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen an NBA player who balls out and has a style of play that has never been more similar to Michael Jordan than Kawhi Leonard. Like, this man is a legit cyborg. I know we all joke around about it, but like he's a fucking cyborg, man. He can do whatever he wants. And like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not like shitting on LeBron's name or anything like that. But again, we talk about the problem of depth. Yes? Yes. It is Anthony Davis and LeBron. And while both of those players are both extremely good, if Paul George is even a little bit on his game with Kawhi, with a much better depth chart than the Lakers, they could easily, well, not easily, but they could pull out that W. They could pull out that win. Not to mention, I still think that the Heat's going to beat the Bucks on the other side. I still think that they're going to beat the Bucks. Like Kevin said, the Heat is probably the best team to beat them, if anything, if it happens. But I would not count out the Celtics. And yes, there is bias in that. But also, when you have that kind of team chemistry that the Celtics do, I'm going to throw my money at them before I throw my money at the Bucks. And yes, we have seen the one player, I guess you could call it the one player system of getting to the finals. We've seen LeBron do that countless amounts of times. But I don't think the Bucks have the supporting cast to make it to the finals. I think they push it. I think they push Game 7 in all of these games. Honestly, I don't see how it doesn't go to Game 7. But I don't think the Lakers and the Bucks are as unstoppable as people make them out to be. I think they're much more beatable than the Golden State Warriors of last year, or even the Toronto Raptors of last year. They're much more beatable than those two teams.
Alrighty. I'll give each side a 2-minute rebuttal to a question I'll ask. I'll start with Kevin. Kevin. I forgot my question. Give me a quick second. But
Fucking got him.
going along these lines of, sure, we do have these dumb end players on these one seed teams. In terms of depth, they seem a little lackluster compared to the other team that they'll play against. What do you say against a matchup of, let's just say, a Lakers OKC or Lakers Rockets, or even better, let's just jump ahead. We'll just jump Lakers Clippers at this point. Clearly, there is a depth issue in terms of reliability at that point, or in the Bucks case, we might have a Celtics matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals, and clearly those players have more dominance. What do you say to have that?
I think people are quick to count out the depth, especially of the Lakers, Bucks also. I think they're quick to count it out because they're not, during the regular season especially, they're not star players. Alex Caruso is a perfect example. Maybe he's not putting up 15 points a game, 20 points a game like a Lou Will on the Clippers or something like that. But he's making plays. He has good differentials almost every game. He's making plays with whoever's out there. He's making good decisions. Same with people like Kuzma. You got also on a different side of things, the people who don't make any plays but just get points. You got Danny Green. You got KCP. And then you got Dwight Howard that just grab every single board and put up whatever he can. I think if you look at it on paper, I think the Lakers bench doesn't look great, but I think when they play together, they're a perfect combination of filling each role you need on the court exactly right, and especially against even strong teams like the Clippers and things like that. I think they have those role players in every spot they need. And I think same goes for the Bucks. I think the Bucks have a lot of okay bench players, but I think they have a well-rounded bench. I guess that's the best way I can put that whole statement. I think, again, the bench of both teams aren't going to have a Lou Will. They're not going to have a Montrezl Harrell. They're not going to have good, per se, bench players. But they're going to have a consistent bench that goes out there and isn't outscored by 15 points every time. they're going to put up a fight against whoever they play against. At least that's what I think. I think to count out their bench is an insult to that team, and also I think we forget how much the stars can play in terms of minutes in the playoffs. Anthony Davis and LeBron are going to be pushing 40 minutes a game or something like that, and they're going to be on the court for most of the time, except for like maybe less than 10 minutes in total. So I think
And time.
Go.
I appreciate it. Just had to cut you off.
Yeah.
Respect for your opponent here. I'm going to ask the opposite question in terms for you, Postmaster. Hello, sir.
Hi, I'm the opponent.
As we've seen historically throughout history, the last team to probably win a finals as a team factor was probably the San Antonio Spurs. Let's be real. Pure bias. I don't care what anyone think, but don't forget 2014, we were the champs, and I'm sadness. Well, along those lines, as we discussed earlier, we've always had duos on these strong teams win the titles, be it Kobe Powell, be it Kobe Shaq, Kawhi Leonard, we'll call it Spicy P at that point. Or Kyle Lowry, we'll say Kyle Lowry at that point. Steph Curry, Clay. We kind of see that with these Bucks team with a Chris Middleton, Giannis. I know it's a huge gap, but it's a good supportive second star to have, and it's an all-star. Let's be real at that point. And along similar lines with the Lakers, we have two superstars with Anthony Davis, LeBron. Hint, hint. Also a Lakers combo. What do you say to that matter? That from a historical standpoint, these duo superstars get titles.
Yeah, I mean, the duo superstars have absolutely worked in the past. You're right, but let's remember that was the past. This is now. The way that the NBA is played is much different than back then. You don't have ginormous people like Shaq, where you have to literally create a whole rule to stop him from doing something. Look, it's not like superstars. They make the run. They're the ones who come out on top in the end. They're the leaders. It's not necessarily that I think it's because of the bench that's going to make them lose. I just think it's like they don't have what they wanted. They don't have what they expected going into the league. I think the expectations for the Lakers were much higher, the expectation for both teams were much lower than they are and then they finished. But it's still not exactly what I was expecting to see. The Bucks team, they make it work, but if Giannis isn't on point, who steps up? Middleton? Like, sure, he'll do just fine, but like he's not the person. It's not like LeBron and Anthony Davis. If one falls, you can't rely on the other necessarily to win you the game. And then going back to that, Anthony Davis hasn't exactly proven much that he is dominant in the playoffs right now. LeBron has definitely been putting up most of the work as far as they go. So if for whatever reason Anthony Davis just doesn't step up, I mean, who's to say that the Lakers don't lose to the Clippers, who have a robot on their team? It's just, and it's not even necessarily the teams themselves. It's also just like the teams that they're playing against, because yeah, you know what? The Lakers are a great team and the Bucks are a great team, but let's not forget that the Lakers have to go through the Clippers and the Bucks have to go through the Heat and possibly either the probably the Celtics.
And time. I'm sorry to interrupt, but valid arguments from both sides of the plate. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here. You better hear it here, because if you heard from somewhere else, then they're liars. But cast a vote on our Instagram page. Who do you got? The big KOB or Postmaster Murphy over here? I don't know where my hands are pointing, but on my screen it looks like I'm pointing at them. So with that, end of the courtroom. Matt, finish us off.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I know it's been quite a while since I've been here, but nonetheless, I do appreciate and love you all. You're just so wonderful. Anyway, you guys can follow us on Instagram at the D3Pod. You guys can email us if you have any questions, concerns, or just want to shit on Kevin. That's fine too. At the D3Pod at gmail.com. Hell, you can shit on me. I don't give a fuck. You guys can follow us on YouTube. You guys can follow us on any of your streaming platforms, really. Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Both very great options. Even Google. But you guys can follow us, listen to us there. Thank you guys so much for listening. And Sam says, Kevin, you're delusional. Have a good night. Peace out. And go Thunder.
Wakanda.